Fall is quickly approaching, not only here, but across the country. And many people are celebrating by looking up to the skies and watching some monarch butterflies make their fall migration. So Northern News Now's Hannah Morgan joins me in studio this morning. Hannah, you spoke with an expert on this migration, and it's a pretty cool process. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, it's such a cool process, and I loved talking and learning so much about it. And it's incredible to discover these beautiful creatures move their way south. Mid-August typically marks the start of the fall migration for monarch butterflies. Journey North is a monarch citizen science project where people can report monarchs as they're seeing them in the summer or throughout migration. Just last week, they posted on social media that fall roosts, which are places they gather in evenings during migration, have been spotted here in the upper Midwest, like the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. According to experts, this is important to the process.
They'll flock to those locations across the landscape where there's a lot of flowers, and that tends to be where they find refuge at night to, rest in the trees until they can continue their journey south.
And that was Wendy Caldwell, the executive director of a nonprofit called a Monarch Joint Venture. She said that these plants help them build up their fat reserves to spend the winter in Mexico, and there's something we can do to help too.
What we can do is think about in our gardens and our broader landscapes that we have influence over, maintaining these fall blooming plants as long as we can.
And those interested in following along with the fall migration journey can check out this map from Journey North. By reporting sightings, it makes it easier to analyze migration across the country. And Brenda and I hear butterflies should have some good weather to travel like many others this weekend.